hard, you know. As a band, you have to compromise, and that comes with a lot of talking and just being honest with each other and being fair as well at the same time, you know. You obviously want to put your ideas forward, but it should be for the good of the band. And I think we all just came to that understanding, and all came to this understanding of like how there needs to be this balance and how it should be fair and we should be honest with each other. And we kind of went into it wanting the same things out of it and knowing the kind of direction that we wanted to go in. And it was a lot of just experimenting and, you know, a lot of writing, a lot of scrap demos, a lot of that sort of stuff, and eventually what we came together with was the kind of best combination of all of those things, and everyone having their input.
Like, it happens pretty naturally too, because a lot of us like write kind of on our own, and then we'll like bring it in, and then, you know, let's say I write something that's pretty chill or pop punky, and then, you know, I'll like write some basic drums over it just for the structure, and then Danny will come in and do his thing, which is always like a lot more complex and got his inspiration on it. So it kind of just bringing it to the group, everyone kind of just finds their way to put their stamp on it, you know what I mean?
The general progression that we've managed to make in terms of we've managed to progress the band without kind of compromising our sound, but at the same time by trying something different. You have those two elements on the on the album of these die-hard kind of pop-punk songs, very neck-deep songs, but then you also have these songs that people might not expect are us trying something a little different. That's what I'm most proud of, I think, is the fact that we made those songs come together and that it all came together coherently. It didn't seem like a rambling mess, you know what I mean? It all kind of just naturally came together, and the progress that we made was like, yeah, I think it was like a major, major milestone for the band. I feel like now we can kind of go wherever we want, and I'm just proud. I guess you could just say I'm proud of the whole thing.
There's a lot of proper, you know, traditional pop punk bangers on there that we're kind of known for doing, but there's definitely a few songs on there that are like a bit of a step forward and a bit different. And I think, you know, if we had to say something, like those are probably the ones that are like, because I feel like that shows that like we're not just some sort of, you know, fast pop punk banger, you know.
Just like,
yeah, we can write some songs that actually have a bit of body to them. Not that the other ones didn't, but you know what I mean. Like, there's a bit more to them.
It's kind of dynamic to them, and I feel like those songs coming out was what I was the most proud of anyway. And yeah, just the fact that it worked, I guess. Yeah. We wrote a very, very solid pop punk record, and it was kind of just about like, let's show people what we can do rather than just being that one trick pony that everybody expects to just write, you know, those typical pop punk songs like back to back. Let's show them that we can do something else.
And it's not even like we sat there and went, right, third album, we got to do something different now. Like we just like, we'll just write songs, and if we like how they sound, great, and that's it really. It's what we've always done.
And we never wanted to make a full departure from that, like the pop punk world or anything like that. It's not like we were making that move as a band to be like, oh, we're switching up now because we need to break into radio. We knew that if we gave it a nice balance, that it would happen naturally, yeah, and it wouldn't be this crazy jump into a different genre, but was just this slow introduction of another side to Neck Deep, you know. We wanted to do something interesting. We wanted to kind of cross over a little bit, and we thought, if you're going to have a guest, it needs to be someone that adds something to the song, someone that is something that's unique, something that's not just an expected move, and something that's going to maybe take people by surprise. And the first thing we thought of was like, Sam Carter on this part would be amazing. Let's try and figure it out. And you know, we've always been supportive of them, and they've always been supportive of us. And I know that they dug our last record and stuff. And you know, we've always loved everything Architects put out. And there's just a kind of mutual respect there and a mutual love. And I think Sam thought it was a cool thing as well for the same reason. Like, it's something a little different. It's unexpected. It's not like him featuring on another metal band's stuff and it just sounding, you know, and it just being another metal song. It was a cool crossover for both genres. Death was a pretty heavy one. There was a few songs that ended up being about death and about like the loss of somebody. We both lost our dads, both lost a friend, and we ended up writing songs about both of those things. And ultimately, what it came down to was the fact that we went through so much as a band and as people in those 2 years, that it really became about seeing the not so positive side to life as well, without losing that positive outlook.
Yeah.
understanding that with the good comes the bad, and kind of about putting those in balance and seeing how those two are constantly working in balance. Like, you'll never escape the bad, but it doesn't mean that there is no good.
I feel like a lot of the like harder shit that happened in the past couple of years like came towards the latter end, like when we were supposed to be thinking about writing new music, you know. So it's kind of like this natural thing of like, fuck, you've got that in the back of your mind, like it's going to naturally kind of come out that way. If you write music and you enjoy writing music and that's something that you do for your outlet, like there's no way that's not going to come up to the surface, you know.
And as well, it's kind of a nice like mark of respect, you know, and it's like, it's kind of like,
it's a nice way to like encapsulate that time.
Yeah, and that, like, you know, and what you went through, and like,
the working title of the album was Where Do We Go When We Go for quite a long time, which ended up being one of the track names, which obviously is already out now. I remember when we were talking about switching it to the Peace and the Panic, like you were recording some vocals for a track and that was one of the lyrics.
That was one of the lyrics, and
then I don't remember.
It was just like stuck. It like, it was just like I picked it out and just like, oh, the Peace and the Panic, like, it's pretty cool, and I figured I feel like it was summing up a lot of what I was writing about, because I was writing a lot of those kind of songs, this balance between the good and the bad, and I feel like the Peace and the Panic summed that up in a more eloquent way, rather than just calling the record the good and the bad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It had a ring to it. It had the onomatopoeia, and it was catchy. And I think as soon as I said it, it was just like, oh, that sticks. That sticks so much better. Yeah,
especially as this record is definitely the most of it's about our last couple of years of being a band and being people, and it was like, but that pretty much is nail on the head. Like Peace and the Panic, like we've had some incredible things, like so much positive stuff happen, but also some of like the worst stuff ever too. Yeah. So,
and like I legitimately had a moment, like this is my anecdote that sums up the Peace and the Panic like perfectly. It was just like I was stressing my absolute bean off in the studio, like really like stressed and anxious, and just couldn't get my head around what was going on. You know, I'd written probably like 14 songs straight of vocals in like a month at that point, and I was just completely exhausted. And I just had this moment to myself in this little apartment that we were staying at, amongst the panic of like, so stressed, so anxious, and just, I just had this where everything just kind of made sense. I started thinking about my life and just what I was doing, the record, my relationships, everything. And it really was, and I was like, fuck, this is the Peace and the Panic. This is what we're talking about, is that balance between the two. And I think it really is just a good way to sum up what part of life is about anyway.